Welcome back to my tutorial series on how to get a model from Blender into Planet Coaster. The last time it didn't actually go all too good and I had to cut the video short. I have to try and keep it within that 15-minute range. So far I know this is with YouTube, it's a bit new and everything for me. And I explained it a little bit wrong because I parented the armature to the cube, and what we have to do actually is parent the cube to the armature. So it's actually the opposite. So we'll first go down to the cube. We left off with the bones being in place, the vertex groups ready and assigned, the bones named already to the vertex groups. So these should be exactly the same as one another. So now we're actually going to assign them together so that the bones are actually connected to the cubes. We'll first click on the cubes. So we've got the cube selected. Then we'll click on parent under the tab of, let me see, object. Click on parent, armature, and there we go. Don't forget actually also to click on the bottom list, the parent type, change that to armature, and now they should be linked to one another. So if I were to click on, say, the bone, and I get an extra menu here, pose mode. So if we go over to pose mode, the cube is actually connected to the bone. So if we now move it, you'll see I actually got the bone selected, not the cube. You'll see it moves up and down. So I can do almost everything I did before. So we've got both cubes now assigned. We can check this one also. It's assigned. We got our textures ready. We got it overlaid on one another. So if I were to go into texture mode, as you can see, it's all working correctly. We got it named under materials. So if I click on cube and I go to materials, we have cube color. One thing I want to mention, what a lot of people I think do have troubles with, I had it at least. Don't go and give it a name and then do space and then BC. It's not necessary because the toolkit will recognize the texture. We'll have to rename our texture to _BC, basic color, but we don't actually have to do it within Blender. We only have to give it the standard name. So just keep it to cube color. That's our texture name. And there we are. We got our cubes colored, we got our bones connected. So now we can scale stuff up now that we've done it. In the last video also our bones jumped around. I got it all to go back to its normal basic position. That was because I assigned the armature under the cube, so under the cube group, and it has to actually be the opposite. So we've got armature, under that we get pose mode, we get our bones behind it, our armature group. Yeah, it's a bit weird how it exactly works, but for us, pose mode, where it's in now, and we got our cube under there with our texture and our bones. So we've done everything now, but now we actually have to scale it up to make it fit in Planet Coaster. So we're going to collapse these all. We're going to go back to armature, and we're going to go to unit count, and we're going to change the unit count to centimeters. And as you can see, the grid becomes massive suddenly from going from small to big. Don't forget to not do this at the beginning, because say if you do, say I make models and I scale my models up, I put this to centimeters, I scale it up, and then I want to place bones and I scale my bones up. What will happen when I start pairing them together is my model will actually grow in size a hell of a lot, and my bone will stay at the height that I gave it. Like it is now is the best way to do it. But yeah, now we got it all done. We got it ready to be animated. We got it colored. So let's go back to object mode. And now we can do with A. So double A, we've got everything selected. If you're not sure, you can see it here. It'll glow yellow or orange. And now we can scale it up. So we can use our tools under N, or we can actually use S for scaling. So let's scale our models up. Don't worry if it does go wrong, you can always fix it. But like I said, try and keep it to that method. It'll jump around a little bit. But never mind that. We'll bring them up. We'll scroll out. Bring them a bit more up. Another problem is if I say leave them that small, the chance of the toolkit telling me that it's too small is quite big. I've had this problem a couple of times and it's really annoying. So my advice is scale it up to a reasonable height so that the toolkit won't actually start conflicting and saying that it's too small and it doesn't want to work and whatever. But yeah, we've got them nicely scaled up now on our grid. So what we want to do next is we want to start animating. We're going to move our UV editor over there for now. We're going to bring up our other menu. Suddenly jumped, so we're going to make it a little bit smaller. And now deselect. For me, it's then the right button. For standard or default settings for Blender, it's the left. We're going to select our bones, and then we're going to go into pose mode. Once we've done that, we can actually, under in, animate our cubes. As you can see, it's completely empty at the moment. There's nothing in it. But we're going to start using this in a minute. I do want to mention one thing. You can choose the moment where you want to start and where you want to end. So if I want to make this shorter, I do 180. It'll go to 180 frames per second. So I'm going to keep it and most likely make it shorter, but for now we'll keep it at 180. Now our bones need a start position. Before we go on, every bone that is connected to a cube, say, I can't both select them, move them, and let's try it, insert keyframe. I can't actually do that. At least I haven't. I think I've had a couple of problems with that. So let's put it back in its original position. Let's go for one of our cubes. Let's go to insert. And as you can see, we have a hell of a lot of different choices. I'm going to go for location, rotation. You can also do location, rotation, scale. but you can combine them also. So you can choose location, rotation, scale, or location, scale. I'm not actually familiar with these, but for now we're not going to actually do anything with them. So let's do location, rotation. We're going to move our cube up. I've actually done it wrong. So we're going to first move our green bar, our frame bar up. We're going to move our cube and we're going to insert another keyframe. So we'll do again, location, rotation. We're going to select our other cube, and as you can see, it actually, our first cube moves up and down, and our other cube has no keyframes. So what we're going to do for our other cube is rotate. So we're going to insert one again, location, rotation. Now I'm going to move up the bar to where I want it, and I'm going to rotate my cube. I usually don't use the axis for this. I use the tools underin. So I go to rotate, I'll move the camera, and I'll rotate it. I can't flip it around completely because Blender won't know. It'll think literally just skip that little bit and go back to the other side. I can't actually do it completely like that. I'll have to do it in separate frames. So for now, we're going to rotate it like that. We're going to insert another keyframe, location, rotation, and there we go. We got one of our cubes moving forward and one of our cubes rotating. So we can move it up once more. We still got our first cube selected, our first bone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate it another time. Actually, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to rotate it the opposite. And we're going to insert location rotation. Now to check to see. That's one of the problems because Blender doesn't exactly know how to do that. So we also got the remove key. So we can press remove. You just click on it. It should delete the frame, but it's not. Okay, let's see. There we go. It didn't pop up. There is a hotkey I. You can use that, but for me, it doesn't always work the way that I want. So I prefer to use the menu, the pose tools. Now we're stuck with our model. Our last position was there, so we'll have to rotate it upwards. So we'll go over there, select our rotate tool, and we're going to move it up. We're going to insert a keyframe, location, rotation. We're not actually going to move the cube, but it's easier always to give it a location and rotation. And if you want a scale, I don't usually scale stuff up, so it's not necessary. Once we've done that, we move our bar up further, and we're going to rotate our cube once more. Insert keyframe, location, rotation. Blender now knows how to rotate our cube. As you can see, we're also going back to the first bone, or the second bone, sorry. We're going to select our other tool, our translate tool. We'll click on our other bone, move the frame up. Here we go. Seeing it already has a keyframe there, we're going to move it up further. Pan our camera, and we're going to move our cube up that way. Insert keyframe, location, rotation. And there we have it, a simple animation. And I think we'll actually do the last one, but for now we'll stick to this. Just saw the time and it's actually a bit longer than I wanted, but we'll get around to it, how to finish this off. But for now, we at least know how we can assign the bone to the object. We also know about how to animate in a basic state. And in the next series, we'll talk about to finish off the animation and getting it ready for export. Thank you for watching. I hope it helps, and I'll see you in the next series.